Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the episode number 8 of the Purgatory After Show. We're almost getting to number 10, which is a beautiful number. Really hope we can get there sooner rather than later. um, but yeah, today we're finally going to do it, the Pennsylvania episode of our podcast. As you listeners might know, we're all based in Pennsylvania. And we're gonna talk about PA today. But before we get to that, I'm here with my good friends Derek and Whips. And how are you guys doing
Hi.
today?
Doing good,
So
man.
good.
Doing good.
The best. Another beautiful
Yeah.
day in Pennsylvania.
It's been
Is
pouring
it?
with rain. Yeah,
It's been
pissing it
awful.
down all
Yeah,
day.
it really has been.
Yeah, the weather was terrible today. Damn.
The Phillies got knocked out of the postseason, and the Eagles have lost 2 on the bounce. Like everybody's sad here right now.
It's a tough time. It's a tough time.
Yeah.
But we're doing our best. Living
I know
the dream.
absolutely nothing about sports, so it was just a regular day for me. Anyway, so yeah, so we're doing the PA episode. We gathered a bunch of bands from PA that we like, and we're going to do the usual process of reacting to clips live and talking a little bit about why we chose those bands. But before we get into metal, I think it would be cool for us to just chat a little bit about PA and PA in metal, because there's a lot of shit that happens here in PA when it comes to the kind of metal that we like. Um, I before I send it to you guys, because I'm obviously the foreigner here. I've moved here to PA about 8 years
me
ago.
too.
Well,
I think
Wibbs
we have
as well,
another
but I don't
one.
consider. So I don't consider Wibbs a foreigner anymore, because like he's there. He's like deep inside into the PA culture and shit.
He's
wearing his
infiltrated.
Phillies
Yeah.
cap. He goes crazy. Like I hang out with Wibbs before shows because he needed to watch the Phillies or whatever. I know nothing about baseball, man, but I'm just there for emotional support, I guess. So yeah, I don't. Wibbs is don't let the accent deceive you. But I do want to say that for me moving here, I'm not sure if that happened to you as well, Wibbs, but to me it was because I didn't choose Exton, PA. That's the name of the town where I live in. I didn't choose this town. It was kind of chosen for us when my wife applied to the job here in the United States. And I was very pleased to see how big the metal scene here is around here, how many metal things happen around here. I was wondering if you went through the same when you moved here to the States.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of upon moving here, I moved to a little town kind of on the outskirts of Philadelphia called Conshohocken, Pennsylvania. It's about 12 miles up the Schuylkill River from Philly, and a short train ride into town. I live right next, was living right next to the train station, so I'd just hop on the train and just go into Philly all the time for shows. There used to be a lot going on there at a few venues that don't exist anymore. The Trocadero was a big one that's gone
Tragic.
now. The Voltage Lounge was another that no longer
Yeah.
exists. We went to some great shows there. But yeah, I mean, like I'd be going to shows, kind of mostly by myself initially, but then kind of like made friends with some other kind of conchy folks that we'd go to shows together, and then of course we ended up going every year to the Decibel Beer and Metal Fest, which is quite an experience for metalheads and beer lovers, which I am both. So yeah, like really started going to metal shows in Philly kind of pretty much straight away upon moving here, and have been going ever since. So kind of toned it down a little bit since having the kids and stuff, but like still try and go when there's a really important show at least, and hopefully we'll go again. There's still lots of good venues, right? We've got the Underground Arts is probably the one that I end up
Mhm.
going to the most. Love
The
that.
beloved Union Transfer.
Union Transfers
Yeah.
a fun venue. And there's
Good
other
old Kung Fu
sort of
Necktie. Good old
Mhm.
Kung Fu Necktie.
Kung Fu Necktie is a fucking amazing little tiny little bar in Fishtown underneath the elevated rail track. We saw Panopticon there. No, I guess that was like a year ago at this point, or
God, was it
maybe
already
2
a
years
I
year
was
ago. I
ago?
don't
there.
know.
Fuck.
I was there a couple of weeks ago to see Zot, like Xoth, Zot from Canada.
Oh
Oh
right,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
They were awesome live, dude. Yeah,
Nice.
they were great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's others like the Fillmore. We still have
Mhm.
the Franklin Music Hall, which is like
Mhm,
really just a
mhm.
lame name for Electric Factory,
Yeah.
which used to be the original name.
Last
Um,
show I
Milk
saw was at a
Boy.
place called Milk Boy. Yeah, I was just going to say
Yeah,
oh,
Milk Boy.
Milk
Yeah,
Boy, yeah.
I
Had
saw
lots of good
JB's.
shows.
I saw Panzerfaust and Groza there. It was a great show.
Yeah.
Mm,
So as
I like that.
you listeners are seeing, there's like a shit ton of venues here. We didn't even talk much about the Fillmore, did we? Did we mention the Fillmore, which is like a
Mm.
big-ish venue? I saw Merciful Fate there. It was fucking great. Um,
Opeth is playing there in February.
Ofest is playing
Mm.
there, yeah. But what about for you, Derek? Because I know you lived in New York for quite a bit,
Mhm.
right before you moved back to this area. So, what was your impression when you came back?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Pennsylvania. I grew up on the suburbs of Reading, which is I guess it's a big-ish town, sad town, but big-ish. And no, I mean, my love of metal was kind of fostered from a young age because we had a club back in the day called the Silo, which is no longer, be for very good reasons. But you know, they had all ages shows kind of every week. And there was a really thriving metal scene. The likes of the Rivers of Nile, Black Crown Initiate. I remember Despised Icon would play a lot. If you guys know Despised Icon, um, yeah, no, it was a cool time to be growing up in this sad little part of the state. Because there's just a lot of metal going on, a lot of you know, opportunities for young people to get exposed to the scene. Yeah, it was a cool time. I mean, since I came back, that was I guess already 3 years ago. Geez. Now I've gotten much more familiar with like Philly and Harrisburg, whereas before I was really not familiar with either of those. Philly, I always knew had a pretty thriving scene from the aforementioned venues, and um, but like Harrisburg, I was completely unaware of. But there's a thriving metal scene out there too. With the some
Yeah.
bands we're going to be talking about later,
And
as well
Harrisburg is the
as
capital of the state. A lot of people knows about
Mhm.
Philly and they know about Pittsburgh, but Harrisburg is kind of like a little bit closer to Philly, but it's the capital of the state. It's towards the center of Philly. Yeah, Pennsylvania. Sorry.
Yeah, not a massive area in any means in terms of like things to do. I'm sure there's like a lot of people there, I guess, since it's like a city or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't feel that way when you're there. So all to say, like, sure there's a scene near you, wherever you are, that, you
Yeah.
can get involved in.
There's also some labels here in PA, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have I know of Relapsed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Relapse. They are from PA. What else? I think Seasons of Mist is here as
20
well, isn't
Yeah.
it?
seasons. Well, it's French, but the
The
US
US branch is here. Yeah.
component is here in Philly. The $20 spin is in Pittsburgh. Um, what else? I'm sure there's other ones.
I'm sure there's other ones that I can't think of them right now.
Yeah. Well, Decibel is based in Philly, like the
Decibel
magazine.
is here in
That was
Yeah.
Philly.
something that was very surprised as well when I moved here. I knew of Decibel, obviously, but I was like, wait a second, it's actually here.
Mhm.
Which is one of the reasons why we get Decibel Meadow and Beer every year, right? Which is a festival that we
Mm.
try to go to every year. Um, yeah, we're not that far away from Maryland as well, so it's pretty good for us in terms of just going to Maryland Death Fest, which is one of the biggest, like, underground metal-based festivals in the world, which is pretty cool. And there's a shit ton of bands and a shit ton of really good metal in Philly. Not Philly, in PA, sorry. And it's interesting now, I'm not sure if you guys are feeling that as well, but I also used to go to shows by myself. a lot when I first initially moved here, and I feel like the scene is kind of getting a little bit renewed post pandemic. I don't know exactly how to explain, but maybe just me paying more attention to it. But I see a lot of more like younger people going to meta
Yeah.
shows
Mhm.
recently than even I used to when I just moved here like 8 years ago. So I feel like things are kind of getting recycled a little bit, which I think is pretty awesome to be honest with you guys.
Yeah. No, I was thinking about that. This is obviously a much bigger show than kind of the shows we're talking about, but I recently saw Slayer play their only show of the year in Hershey, Pennsylvania, of all places in the world to play. Um, and I was stunned at the amount of little kids just in the pit, with their, like, parents nearby or whatever. It's not like we're just letting them go, but yeah, just warmed my heart a little bit to see them with their little like earmuffs, those giant things the kids wear. It was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And before we jump into the bands, I do want to just sidetrack a little bit. Wibbs mentioned a venue called the Voltage Lounge, which used to be a very cool small underground venue that unfortunately didn't survive the pandemic. It was in Philly, and then it's interesting because there's a certain show that me and Wibbs went to. We were there at the same time, but we just didn't know each other. We were both kind of going solo to concerts still back then. I think it was to see, it was in Ferry, right?
I
And,
was in Fury, and
and yeah,
who else? They
I think it
weren't
was like,
headlining, were they?
yeah, it was an Obscura.
Could have been.
Yeah, it was like
Archspire? No, I think it was
Yeah,
Archspire.
Expire.
It was
Yeah,
in Fury,
Ooh.
Archspire, and Wormhole.
Wormhole. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
It's a very
I think we
slammy
went to
show.
the
Nile
didn't
show
we
as well.
Nile Terrorizer and Hath as well? I think we
Ooh,
were
Yep.
both
wow.
at that one. That was
That
a
was
good
an
show.
awesome bill, yeah, pretty
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
show. Um, so it was kind of funny as well. The uh, it, it's funny before we all kind of converged and became sort of a metal group that we have today here in this area. We're kind of just going solo to the same places, you know. So who knows, you listener, you might make a friend soon with someone that is at the same time as you all the time, and you just don't know
Yeah.
yet. Cool. Then we're gonna jump straight into metal. So what we did here is again we just made some picks for some of our favorite albums from Pennsylvania-based bands, and we're gonna just listen to all of them and just talk a little bit about why we chose those albums and
Mhm.
just discussed each one of them a little bit. So
Yeah,
shall
and I
we?
think, yeah, I was gonna say overarchingly before we get started too, it seems like we picked bands that aren't, massive. We wanted to spotlight some smallish bands.
Ah, good call. We should
Yeah,
do that.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
we're not gonna start with like there's some pretty big bands obviously that are from PA, but anything comes to mind?
Ooh, what were
We
we
did not
just saying?
choose
Her,
Pissgrave. We did not pick Pissgrave
yeah,
for our
dearly departed Pissgrave.
Are they big?
Uh, I don't know. Yeah, I
They're
would,
Oh, we're gonna
notorious.
talk about the small ones though. Sorry, I got
hmm,
confused. I
I
thought we
would
were
say
gonna talk
I'm
about smaller ones
obligated to
first.
say horrendous, probably.
Ah,
Horrendous, yeah.
Yeah,
And you mentioned Rivers of Nile. Obviously, they're for a
yeah,
Reading band. Not the biggest act from Reading, which obviously Taylor Swift would take that
yeah,
mantle.
yeah.
Um,
That's true.
but who else? Blah, blah,
Black
blah.
Crown Initiate was the other one I mentioned. They're,
Yeah,
I guess, kind of big. I don't know. I think their music's okay.
we
Um,
can claim Baroness. I think because
mm,
John is certainly located here now. I see him at pretty much every show I go to these days. The past few
oh
I
yeah,
years.
looked up
his Never Single Show. That's true.
Yeah.
right before this. I saw Poison apparently started in Mechanicsburg, the glam metal band. So I mean, who knows if that's true because AI runs Google now. But
Yeah.
you know,
We were just talking about this before we started recording, but the Lord Weird, how it's Law Faye, how do you pronounce that? I have some
Slow
trouble
Fag. I
saying
Slow,
don't know.
slow
slow
fig.
effect. There you
I,
go.
oh,
Love them, but apparently they started in PA.
there you
Uh,
go.
didn't
Yeah.
know that as well.
And
It's kind of funny.
August
I
Burns
said,
Red, as we said too, they're probably the biggest band.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I
I was
mentioned
thinking,
Bisgrave, but I thought you were gonna talk about like other smaller acts that we like, not all that stuff that we just anyway. Um, cool.
but yeah, I think we've got some deeper cuts than that stuff for the most part.
It's where the better stuff is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have one that's not that deep. I would say it's probably the most. Would we say that my pick is the most well-known band from
You've
all?
got
I reckon,
two.
I
You
reckon
got two, I would say.
Mauricio number
Yeah.
3, I think, is probably the big one. Should we start with that?
We'll start with that
Yeah,
one.
let's get that out of the way. I think let's
Yeah.
start with one that the listener might know before we get into
Mhm.
the deep cuts here. All right, cool. Let's play that one.
Sands of time, watching our shadows grow long, dragging our bones across the roads, believing we would remain strong. For every chink in our armor, there is a notch on our hilt. Though so weak and so weary, no steadier man can be built. But I have looked beyond the veil. I pulled back the curtain and stared into hell. I have seen the dragon and the demons now know my name. Shout, don't cry, I return in the black candle flame. Black diagnosis, the Templar's 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 black candle flame.
Yay, Crypt Sermon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the opening song from the Rooms of Fading Light, which is my favorite album by them. I discovered this band when I was I had a chemist phase.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. um, and then I remember when this album came out a little bit before the pandemic, and I was like instantly hooked. Like I'm a massive Candlemass fan. I love Candlemass.
Fuck yeah, dude.
And yeah, and that's kind of it hits that same spot. I would say. The song that I chose is a little bit of it's the more it's the song that kind of sold me the album, but I would say that if you listen to the album more and more, you start liking some of the later songs a little bit better than this first one. But I don't know. There's a certain it's as you guys probably know by now. I don't listen to a lot of stuff that has clean vocals. Um, there's some stuff here and there. For example, I've been listening to a lot of grindcore as of lately, which is very far away from what we've just listened to. But there are certain bands in this style that they really catch my attention. And for Crypt Sermon in particular, I think it's the fact that I feel like I'm being told a story as I listen to this album, which is something that I really like. I also think that the vocalist is very interesting. Like it's like I don't know like if I would say that it's the most like technically on point vocalist I've ever heard in my life, but it's very enjoyable to just hear him kind of go through the songs. It gives me as I said, more of that story-like feel that I want from this kind of music, and that's why I wanted to bring this band here to the pod. It was also the first show I've seen after the pandemic was done. I went to Metal and Beer Festival in Philly, and I remember Crypt Sermon was playing, and I got there a little bit late, and they were literally the first band that I saw after I thought the world would have ended. I would never be able to go to metal shows again in my life. So yeah, so that's basically my story with this album, with this band.
think we were all there for that too.
Really? And I didn't
think
know you
so.
guys. So there
I
you
was-
go.
I
Another
was there.
example.
Yeah, we were both there. Yeah. Yeah. No, this is I'm gonna try not to be biased because I am, the drummer is a good friend of ours, Enrique. And I think somebody from Horrendous is in that band now. Pretty
Yeah,
sure.
Matt
Yeah.
Knox.
Yeah, I think Matt's in there. Yeah.
Oh, they had Tanner from our beloved Obsequier as well now.
Oh man, jeez, what a
Yep.
band this
Yeah,
is
it's kind
now.
of it's actually a bit of a kind of like Philly supergroup in a way. Just looking at it, there's
Hmm.
there's two members of the Silver, which is a kind of horrendous kind of offshoot, I guess, in a way,
Their alter
right?
egos. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's two guys in the band who played with Vector. We don't talk about Vector, but they
Nope.
were based in Philadelphia for a while, and they sadly cancelled. Rightly cancelled, I should say, but sad because it was a
Yeah.
good band.
Very sad.
And
Yes.
Daiva, two members of that, which is another Philly band. Three members of Daiva. So yeah, some more
Yeah, it's sort of like
Philly,
a
Philly bands.
Hmm.
Yeah. Trad's a bit
I
of a
would.
hard sell for me, honestly. Like I kind of struggle a little bit with kind of bombastic cleans. But one thing that like I certainly remember from that show of Decibel was kind of being in the back, being like meh, trad, and then just being really wowed by like how hard they go in terms of like
Mhm.
how heavy the music is, despite the fact that it's kind of you know bombastic trad and like it's like really kind of brutal double kicks like all the time and like really big riffs. So yeah, that was quite
Yeah.
like ooh, I wasn't expecting that.
And how could we forget his lovely, like, bright white shirt he was wearing? Anybody? Do you guys remember that?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true.
Man, I still think about that. That was a good show. No, I really like Crypt Sermon. I struggle with them at times when I'm not necessarily in like a Candlemassy kind of like old school doom kind of mood. Because of, I don't know, I just don't always want that sound, if that makes sense. So I think when I was listening to them again coming into this, I was like, you know, which happens sometimes. But then there's other times where I listen to this album, or I really like the first one too, which I don't know if Enrique was on, but anyway, I really like that one too. I think it's called like Out of the
Out of the
Cellar,
garden.
Out of the Garden. That's it.
Yep.
Yeah, I really like that one too. There's times I listen to those albums and I'm like, damn, these are good. So I think it's more of a me problem, but brilliant band, really talented people. Yeah, nothing really more to say. It's just a
Yeah,
great band. Great album.
I had a feeling that you guys were gonna have like this reaction, and it's mostly because I think the three of us, we really gravitate towards more like death metal, black metal, thrash metal, uh, kind of sound.
Black Growls,
But yeah,
man.
but every now and then, like I do need like a little bit of like peace in my life.
What's that?
So I kind of consider like Crypt Sermon and other bands that are kind of like Crypt Sermon, like even the Canomasses of the world and Chemists of the world, as like I don't want to listen to anything like super crazy today. I just want to chill a
Yeah.
little bit, and then I put on
No,
them on, and it hits the spot. That's sort of like how I see it.
and the chemist comparison is apt, but it's also interesting for me given what I just said, because I like can turn on chemist and really enjoy that kind of no matter what.
Yep.
And I don't quite know the difference. I think chemist maybe is a little heavier, like ever so slightly.
That's because there's like just a little bit of grouse.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah, that's it. Yeah, he brings back the growls like maybe once every other song, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're back. Nice.
Yeah. So Ben has that other band, Glacial Tomb,
Oh yeah,
which is a
yeah,
death metal
yeah.
band. So he's sometimes there's like some like more of like the growl like stuff within Chemis, which definitely adds to the whole thing and makes it sound a little bit more heavier. Like especially inside Hunted, which is my favorite Chemis album. But
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So should we change to something that's a little bit more up our alley, maybe? um,
I have one that could be a little bit more up our alley, but
yeah,
yeah,
I think we
let's try.
can do that one.
So those guys were that was Cavern Womb. Song was A Vessel for the Esoteric from their album Stages of Infinity, which this must be affiliate label Rotted Life Records 2024. Who knows? Anyway, yeah.
I think
So
you're
these
right there.
guys,
It's an
yeah, I think
EP though. It's not like
yeah,
a LP. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's like half an hour long. I mean, but anyway, um, yeah. These are Philly guys. Clearly have heard every once in a while some blood incantation. They might have dabbled a little bit. But I think the difference in terms of their approach to the kind of death metal that Blood Incantation have now made, pretty huge, is they have a little bit more like griminess to them, a little bit more like nastiness in their sound, a little more, I guess, to use for lack of a better word, cavernous, feeling to their music. Um, it's almost like I wrote down here the more they're kind of closer to almost phobophilic at times, if they were a little bit more psychedelic. So, and I did try to include that in the clip here of, they have the really like, gross, chuggy parts, but then they often kind of segue kind of nicely into these really long psychedelic, almost interludes, kind of taking you to the next heavy part. Yeah, really cool band. And if you get a chance to see them live, please do so. They're so good live. I saw them in a basement, just somebody's house. It was awesome. It was so good. Um, but yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I that the first thing that I noticed when I started listening to them was that there's something about the drum sound that adds to the atmosphere so much. I'm not sure if it's the cymbal or something like that you keep hearing as the songs are kind of progressing. There's like something in the sound of the drums that I really enjoy out of this album. Yeah, but as you said, it's like very cavernous, as you said, grimy death metal, uh, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so that's pretty much like up my alley. It's one of those things where I hit play. I was like, how the hell am I not like gonna like this? It's just like,
Yeah.
yeah, of course I'm gonna like this shit. It's awesome. And the last thing I do want to mention, outside of everything you already said, Derek, is that their logo. There's something that sticks out to me so much from their
Oh yeah.
logo,
Great
which
logo.
is I used to practice a martial art called kendo, which is that sword Japanese martial art where people wear like armors and whatnot. If
Mm.
you search for kendo mask, like Kendo, it's I'm not sure if it was intentional, but it looks like the face that is
It
part of
really
the
does.
yes.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I saw when I saw this banner first. I was like, wait, is there a Kendo mask in their logo?
Oh shit. Yeah, it
But
really does.
I like yes, and I really
And
liked it. I was
also,
like, oh, that's pretty cool. I wonder if it's like a hidden like reference there. Might be, might not be. I don't know. He could also just be like a weird being from another dimension, you know.
It's hard to say.
It's a really fucking cool album cover as well, just in general.
Yeah,
Infinity.
cool.
That's yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a huge amount to add, like, very Derek pick. I just think we didn't use the word gross, but I think that the guitar tone is gross in a good way. I agree with what you were saying, Derek, about how it kind of goes from the, those really kind of like very kind of like, suffocatingly heavy passages to the kind of like really kind of trippy stuff, and these kind of like big melodic leads as well, and kind of just fucking very very good, very very enjoyable, and
Also,
yeah,
it has a
need to
has a
spend more time with
hint.
it.
Something I do want to, I forgot to mention, I remember, is that as I was listening, I was like, there is a hint here in this album of one of those death metal bands that have that, like, what the hell is going on here kind of feeling. There's a hint of that. Not that in the sense that like it's like super complex or whatever, but I don't know, it's kind of surprising sometimes some of the stuff that happens like through the songs that kind of catches my attention. Right, I was like, oh wait, what the hell was that? It almost feels like I need to go back and re-listen to it so I can understand a little bit. I don't know how to
Yeah, I know
explain
what you,
that
I know what you
feeling.
mean. It's like almost like unpredictable, or the word unhinged came to mind, but I don't know if that quite fits. but something along there, yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, they're calling themselves Esoteric Death, Philadelphia
Oh,
Esoteric Death,
That
and I
seems
can
to
see
fit.
there's a
Yeah.
little esotericness, if that's
yeah.
even a word.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was thinking as I was listening to this, that they seem poised in the same way that like I guess just to use the band I mentioned earlier, they seem similarly poised to where like Phobophilic were when they put out their, I think it was an EP before they signed to the major label. They're kind of like right there, just waiting to get, snapped up by one of the big guys.
Oh,
They
this has crazy
yeah, the
quality.
kind of band that might see a kind of like early in the day billing at Decibel, which is where we, that's one of the cool things about the Beer and Metal Fest, is that it does kind of highlight Philly bands quite frequently, I think, and yeah, you could see that.
Yeah.
It has high quality, so I'm pretty sure, I mean, it would be crazy for them not to get a good deal, right? Somewhere.
I'd sign them, but I can't, sadly.
Oh, love
Not
it.
yet.
All
I love
No.
right.
We gotta start putting our podcast money into that. Anyway.
Now let's go to Whips's number one, his first pick. Or I'm not
Yeah,
sure like which
yeah,
number
let's
we're gonna
do
choose here, but he's
do
gonna take
number
us
one.
back to where we belong now, I guess, with some
something
sadness. Let's
completely
do it.
different. That was sad.
Oh yeah. That's good stuff.
Now we're back. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, how wonderfully varied extreme metal is. So so that was a little snippet from a song called "Every Falling Leaf" by Robes of Snow. I think Robes of Snow is a good name for this band. This music sounds exactly like you would expect a band called Robes of Snow to sound. I'm sure that they dress in robes, probably black robes, but and carry swords. But it's very autumnal as the album. This album is called Fall's Resplendence. I think they kind of do wintry and autumnal themes. Very raw atmospheric black metal, I think, is the probably the genre definition for this. Got the really really lo-fi sound, kind of like barely distinguishable drums, just kind of like bashing a all you can really hear is a cymbal. The screechy vocals in the background, and it's very simplistic, or at least that's how it seems initially. But then, there's a lot of kind of quite interesting, kind of like multi-instrumentalist components that go into this, and you kind of like highlighted there, kind of halfway through that clip, it kind of starts coming in with, I don't know what kind of, is it some kind of lute or something, you get a lot of, through the album, you have these kind of long black metal songs, but then there's also like a good half of the album is all more kind of like almost like medieval, kind of like folky kind of stuff, not really metal at all, almost kind of ambient folk stuff, but all very dark and grim. And I just I think this is quite a deep cut. I don't think this band is on too many people's radar, but I think that they're really cool. What do you guys think?
Oh yeah, this is good stuff. I remember listening to this album. A fun thing for people who don't live in Pennsylvania to learn is that Pennsylvania weather is insane this time of year. So like when I was listening to this album, I think it was like early last week, it was somehow almost 80 degrees and sunny, which was not the right time to listen to this. So it just kind of like bounced off me, and I tried again, later in the week when it was mercifully not nearly 80 degrees, and it settled a lot easier. And I feel like that's kind of how this album is as a whole, is like it rewards repeat listening, like there's more things you can pick out. And whatever you guys are mentioning, that lute or whatever is in the background, man, I love that shit. Why can't that shit be in like other stuff? I love it so much. But yeah, no, it's a great band. They also have a great split, I think it is, Wibbs. Remember like 2 years ago they put out a split with a band. Oh, it's gonna bother me. I gotta look that up.
They did. I know I have that on Bandcamp. What the fuck is it?
Yeah, it's
That
gonna
is
bother
gonna
me.
bother me.
Well, I'm using our beloved dictionary here, Metallum, and it's saying it's called the Frozen Hull. It's like Use Laga. I don't know how to pronounce the name.
I don't think that's the one that I'm thinking
That's not
of.
the one.
Okay.
The viewers
Uh,
are
they-
not
no, they
really gonna
with
care about this.
with the Dungeon
Mal-
Synth band, yeah,
Molder
Moldeon.
Molderyon.
Moldeon,
Yes,
yeah.
that's it. Oh man, that album's good.
Yeah,
Hmm. They're
yeah.
very prolific too. I'm seeing that. Holy fuck. There's what, like
Yeah, so I was about to
15
mention
albums
that.
here?
Yes. So that was the first thing. I did not know this band before Whips recommended. So this is truly like a very deep cut. And you guys are people in person in meta was probably similar. First thing that we do, you just look them up on Metallum, right? The Encyclopedia Metallum. And I was like, what made you choose this album in particular, Whips? There's so many things in here. And just so many albums in like 3 years. It's like, wow, that is a crazy amount of output. And I hit play on a few songs from some of the different albums here, and it's kind of the same vibe, I would say. Though I focused more on the one you share with us, Whips. And it's exactly what you guys are saying. Is I think raw atmospheric black metal is a title that really fits this band pretty well. Um, the I also had the same insight as you had, Derek, with the multiple listens. Sometimes I listen to metal while I'm working, and that's not what you should do with this album in particular. I would say if you, because the first time when I played, I was like, why did Wibbs choose this? I was kind of like, why? Because the first time I was working as I was listening to it, and it wasn't kind of like not super loud or anything, but and then it kind of felt like just a bunch of noise, slow cadence noise. But as you guys are describing, if you kind of stop and pay a little bit more attention, there's so many tiny little elements here and there, and sometimes they're hidden behind like the guitars or something like that. This clip we just listened, right? You can, if you don't listen, I'm not sure if the listener has their volume high or not, but you might have missed the loot that they are describing here in this particular clip, and it's kind of like that across the album, which is pretty interesting to me. But I was shocked to see the amount of output and that this person is able to do. It's apparently a single artist here, Damien Winter. And man, props to you. This is a crazy amount of albums that you have so far. So pretty awesome stuff. I'm definitely going to explore the rest of it. Yep.
Yeah, I agree. I have not by any stretch of the imagination listened to anything close to all of this stuff. Like just I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know. Just looking at the Bandcamp, I see that there's a bunch of stuff released, like, kind of since I last bought one of their records. Actually, no, this Falls Resplendence is the penultimate one, and there's a Sylvanland, a Silver. It's all NYP as well. So, actually, September 26th of 25. This is a full album.
Yeah, it just came out, right?
Oh, fuck yeah. Okay.
September, yeah.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Now.
One thing it's funny, as I was going through the albums and looking into them, is that sometimes it felt like some of the covers are very similar to pictures I might have taken when I go on trails with my wife, like
Yeah, like
10 minutes away from my
Yeah.
house. It's very Pennsylvanian, like those pictures, right?
Mhm.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Some great ambient stuff too in this back catalog. I was sampling some stuff like you were saying. I forget which one it was, but I was like, wow, this is beautiful. Just guitar. Just like lovely.
Yeah.
Just acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting project. I encourage folks to check it out.
Cool.
What else we got?
I also brought another one, which is also not the normal kind of sound that I generally gravitate towards, but I also think it's sort of a very unknown band that I want us to talk about here. So let's take a look at my clip. That would be number 1. What the hell, right?
Fuck yeah.
How the fuck are they not like super popular? It's just like I just don't understand. This is lore. This is lore. This is from a album called In Forgotten Sleep. This is the opening song, Dusk. I chose this passage specifically because I think it shows you how unpredictable this album can be. There's all sorts of stuff across the whole album, and it is. I came across this album via like review websites many years ago.
Is it
And
Angry Metal Guy?
it was Angry Metal Guy, yes.
Yeah, that's where I saw it too. Nice.
That's where I
Anyway.
saw it. Yeah, it was an Angry Metal Guy. And then I was well, first of all, I was already living here in the United States, and I was shocked. I listened to the band, loved them, and I was listening to this album on repeat when I found about it first, and it only hit me later, many months later, that the band is from fucking Pennsylvania. And I was like, no way. And then they're actually like an unsigned independent band. And I was like, how the hell is this not more popular? And I never saw anyone talk about it. And I'm really glad you knew it about them, Derek. Did you know about them as well, Wibbs?
I've never heard of them. No.
I don't understand. How is that possible? Basically, this is a mixture of like there's power metal elements in there, there's progressive elements in there, there's a shit ton of folk stuff in there. You guys saw the harsh vocals that they sometimes come out of nowhere as well. It's definitely very rewarding. It's a very rewarding experience listening to the album. Hey, it's interesting because it's complex, but whenever I go back, I always some of the riffs and the passages they get stuck in my head, and I'm kind of like remembering them like over the next day, the few days. And the other thing that's interesting about lore is really that I don't think it's like a perfect album either. I do think it's kind of bigger than it should. There's some parts that could be cut down, could be trimmed a bit. But dude, it's like an independent album released, fucking came out of nowhere. I don't know. It's definitely one of those sounds that I don't gravitate towards, but it's that kind of experience that leaves you with a smile on your face, that someone was able to combine all these elements into something that makes sense. And it's again goes into my bucket of bands that I want to listen to when I just want to chill and just be happy and have peace in my life. So yeah, I love lore. They released another album afterwards, which is equally good. It's called The Edge of Eternity, but In Forgotten Sleep would always have a very special place in my heart. So what did you guys think about it?
I want to hear what Weebs has to say.
Yeah, it was a bit much for me. I couldn't get through the whole thing. It's not my jam these days. It reminds me a lot of Ensiferum, but much more kind of progressive, and I think you really kind of see it in that clip actually, where especially towards the end, there was that really kind of like faltering time signature change that they kind of like do on that riff, so you really think you know what it's going to do. And if it was Ensiferum, that's what it would do. But this is like, no, I'm gonna lead you in a different direction and gonna keep you off balance and off guard. And I thought that was really, really cool. But overall, just a little bit happy for miserable old me. Is probably where I land. Though maybe if it caught me in the right mood. It did put a smile on my face. Don't get me wrong, and especially just listening to that clip, I was just like, oh fuck yeah, like that actually. And maybe I'm just was in a grumpy mood when I listened to it. But no, it was cool. Very interesting recommendation.
Yeah. No, I had heard of this album before. I actually, like I said, was introduced to it through Angry Metal Guy's review, which I don't know if it was a 5, but it was close. It was close to a perfect score. If it was,
yes, it was close, which is what caught my attention as well. Yes.
Yeah. And at the time, this actually listening to this again really brought me back to a very specific time in my life when because I was a sophomore when this came out in college, and I had just transferred to a different school from a school where I didn't really love, and then I was still trying to find my way around, literally, and then find people to talk to and group to fit in with, and this album kind of helped a lot, back then to put a smile on my face, even if this isn't something that I usually go for. It was even super into at the time, this type of sound. Just this album was just kind of a breath of fresh air when I needed it. So it was cool. It was cool. I guess I kind of agree with Whips though, is I listening to the whole thing in one sitting is kind of a lot for
Yeah.
me nowadays. But yeah, no, I think it's really wonderful album with people who know what they're doing, know how to write music. So
And I kind of figured you guys would also have some of that reaction, because even for me, we're listening to the album, it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of long, right?
it is long.
So it gets to a certain part of it where it's not that you're kind of losing interest or anything like that, but you feel a little bit overwhelmed. It's kind of too much, right? The other interesting thing is that I feel like a lot of times with folk, like when people mix like folk with metal and there's clean vocals and stuff, it's more often than not, for me at least, a lot of those bands, they sound very cheesy. And then I don't want to go near them just because it just feels like it's very cheesy. It's kind of, they're all very similar, at least for my ears. I don't think Lore does that, which is why I like them. And it's another example of like, how the hell are these people not signed and not popular? Even maybe you guys didn't get a lot of attention. I think you guys would probably agree with me that it's a really good quality music.
And it's
like,
it's a genre that people really really like, right? I
Yeah.
mean, like, so there are bands like Ensiferum and Fintroll and stuff like that within the kind of like folk
Tier,
metal space.
yeah.
They're like a
Wilder Run
massive,
for a newer one, yeah.
yeah. Like, so it's kind of that I do find that surprising.
It is. And the two of the guys from this band, they have another band called the A Thousand Bone Cylinder Explosion that you guys might find interesting
Nice.
because it's sort of like speed metal. It's like black speed metal. And the album cover is dumb. I don't know what they were thinking. But it's someone got a marker and just
Let me
wrote
get
the
that
name
up.
of the band and on like a, I don't know, tower or whatever, and there's like a smiley face, and that's the
Look
album
at
cover.
that.
And it's actually speed
That's
black
awesome.
metal, and it's actually good. If you guys want to check that out as well, it's called A Thousand Bone Cylinder Explosion,
What
and
is
it's actually
that
pretty
thing?
good. I almost
Cool.
chose that one as well to be on the pod, but yeah, another record there.
All right, well, I think it's party time after that. So if we want to mosey on over to my clip number 3.
Yeah, if you want to know why a lot of punk people like black metal, that's it.
Yeah. No, these guys rule. So that was Zorn, with a Z, that is. There's some more Philly boys. They play, as you can hear from there, some kind of like punky, I don't know, black thrash
Crust.
shoegazy, crust. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there. They use that like kind of, I don't know, shoegazy kind of guitar tone that I love so much. Yeah, no, these guys are great. I this is unfair probably, but I did describe them in my notes as kind of what I want Devil Master to sound like. Devil Master are also a very cool band from Philly. Very cool. But sometimes I just want a little bit more, a little bit more fun, a little bit more, oomph. And I feel like Zorn do that. But yeah, I really like these guys. The only criticism I would give this album, which is also called Zorn, of course, is I do wish the mix/production was just a little bit better. It's just kind of like, yeah, but I think it's because it sounds pretty like they didn't put any money into it at all, which I like that. So, yeah, what do you guys think?
It has a really cool garage feel to it.
Yeah,
And, just like I agree. I think I love the energy of it and just like this kind of stuff. Like I mean, what's not to like? It's just like fucking fun as shit, right? It just like loads of riffs and loads of speed and just like galloping craziness. I mean, absolutely 100% guaranteed to put a big ass metal grin and two horns up, every time. So like fucking awesome. I struggle a little bit with that kind of that flange, like kind of effect on the guitar tone that they have, kind of like really well all the time. That's their sound.
Is that what it's called? Flange?
I don't know if it's a flange or a phase or some kind of like I don't know what
I can pick it out when I hear it, but I don't know what it is.
I think it's flange. But that's a minor quibble. But yeah, I mean, mostly it's just about the attitude and the energy of it, and it like you said, it really kind of brings that kind of like punk vibe into a kind of blackened speed metal kind of energy, and yeah, it was just an enormous amount of fun, start to finish.
I think this is one of those cases where it's the imperfections that give them character. If you try to make this album a little bit more polished or try to make them play a little bit more tighter or something like that, it's not gonna be Zorn anymore. It has to be as it is for it to work. It's the feeling that I have, and I love this. It's exactly as you guys are saying. It feels very authentic when you listen to something like this. Like the guy just screaming out of his lungs as the world is ending. And I love the vocals a lot here in this album.
Yeah.
And I think that perhaps what you were talking about with Devil Master, it's something I think I share similar sentiment. I think like it really, it's interesting like in the theory, and I like the theory of it. And I saw them live a couple of times, and it was good. But it's just like, whereas I want a little bit more of this, like more raw in the sense of like we kind of don't give a shit. We just want to play fast and just scream kind of attitude that they have here in Zorn. I like this more. So really happy when you brought this album to the pod, because it's really fun. All right, and now Wibbs will again bring us back to our place with another interesting pick here.
Chooses of deadly wounds.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when we started talking about doing a Pennsylvania episode or Philly episode, I was kind of like, I'm gonna have to claim Alex Poole. So he's that was Häxanu, one of about 50 bands that this guy is in. He's originally from Nashville, Tennessee, but moved to Philly like well, I think 2012 or something like that. So I guess we get to claim him. He's one of the most kind of prolific figures in USBM, I guess. Just a remarkable body of work. I wouldn't even know necessarily what band's most famous for, but maybe Chaos Moon would be one.
Scarfe comes to mind.
Scarfe is another. Krieg is, I think, one of the main bands that he's in these days. Just like in collaboration with just a lot of people. And just a huge amount of I've not been able to even begin to kind of listen to all of the different projects that he's done. But all of the ones that I have been they're all really really good. So predominantly a guitarist and kind of programmer and synthesizer, keyboardist, bassist, vocalist here. This is a solo project. Häxanu, the album is Totenpass. And the song was Sporagmos. Sorry, I should have said that. Yeah, I think here what we're hearing is like a very kind of like actually one of the more kind of conventional like offerings I said of the different kind of projects that we mentioned. Like this one's just very kind of like in your face fast black metal, right? Like just kind of constant aggressive blasting and riffs, kind of howling vocals. Actually sounds like where my happy place is, and one of the reasons why I like this. Actually, this sounds like this could be a German band on
Oh yeah.
Vendetta Records.
Yeah.
But like you expand to listen to some of the other Pool stuff, and it starts getting often like really symphonic, like really atmospheric, loads and loads of keys. And in the case of Scarfe that we just mentioned, really quite trippy and psychedelic and weird. And they're basically just the guy's just a fucking brilliant black metal musician. Has done absolutely all different flavors, and he's very very impressive body of work.
Yeah.
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 Was
No, go ahead.
was the choice of the song a like hidden message to me and Derek?
I did actually choose that song because we like Sparagmos here in the Purgatory Aftershow.
Yeah, that was our number one
nod.
album
like
last
that.
year by
Nice.
Spectral Voice.
Don't you forget it.
Yeah, it's kind of as you said. It's very like straightforward black metal. That's kind of how I would like straightforward in the sense of like it's just like kind of like in your face. Um, it's I would say it's not normally the I really liked it, but it's just really not normally what I listen to. Um, I don't know. There's something in the production of the album. I don't know what it is that stands out to me as sort of like it feels like it's kind of there's a couple of things that are kind of disjointed on purpose. I think it's maybe it's something with the vocals and the way it's kind of mixed with all of the other instruments. I don't know. there's something that puts me off a little bit, and I think it's like a feeling that they might be wanting to do on purpose. That's what they're trying to force into you because it's black metal and they do this kind of shit. At least that's what stand out to me. It's pretty cool stuff. Just really not normally what I gravitate to. But yeah, you were talking about, we chatted about this album a little bit before the show, and it was kind of crazy. Like, I don't follow USBM. I don't know the names of the people in USBM, and therefore, sorry, Alex, but I didn't know who you were. And Whips has been recommending me, and Derek as well. They've been recommending me some of the other work by Alex Poole, and it's just kind of crazy the amount of stuff that this guy has done. It's crazy. I'm very excited to dive more into the Discog there. So yeah, pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, no, I don't have too much to add. I will say before I get started on that, apparently this is how I find out that Scafe broke up last year, so that's a bummer.
That's lame.
Night's ruined there. Anyway, no, this album, going back to the current album, is very good. Just really good black metal. I mean, I'd say the production I think stands out to me in terms of just being like real crisp, real like punchy though. It's not just like, polished nonsense. It's like still got some punch to it. Yeah, really, really great stuff. Really, when I want I want black metal. That's what I say to myself maybe in the morning when I'm having a bad day. I'm like, I want some black metal. Like, this is kind of what I want to go to, Some no frills, no nonsense. Get me in there. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I think.
That does make sense. But one thing that I kind of had to say when we started talking about Alex, kind of in the run into this episode was like, what, you haven't heard Chaos Moon, Mauricio? I was like, no. So for Mauricio and for our listeners, there is an album called Languor into Echoes Beyond by the band Chaos Moon. It's actually not a Pennsylvania album. This was recorded before Alex moved to PA, but we get to claim him, and it's so fucking good. I'm just gonna play a clip.
Yeah, we were joking before when Wibbs first recommended Chaos Moon to me that if there's synthesizers in black metal, that increases the likelihood of me liking the album by like 30% or something. That's pretty
That
cool.
album is a fucking masterpiece.
Beautiful. Yeah.
It's one of the best USBM albums for sure. And I think
Yeah.
it's worth just playing it as well to give a kind of little bit of an illustration of just how fucking different Alex Poole projects are.
Yeah.
It's like you kind of like have a lot of people who are prolific within black metal that are members of lots of bands, and they all sound more or less the same. That's absolutely not true with this guy. Like, he's really diverse in what he goes about doing, and he's a great riff writer and a great guitarist, but like in terms of like layering synths and atmospheric stuff, he's just fucking peerless. And he was really young when he wrote that as well, like basically a teenager.
It's
Sorry,
frustrating.
no, he would have been 20 or 19, 20 years old or something like that. Yeah, really talented guy.
Yeah. No, but parts of that when I was listening to this album, maybe like a couple months ago, I didn't catch this, but when I was listening to that clip, I was like, "Oh, this sounds a little bit like Paysage d'Hiver." I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right because I'm not French, but you know
No,
what I mean. The guy with
yeah,
all
I
the
do.
winter and the
Yeah.
snow, and you get it.
Yeah, but beautiful.
Yeah, wonderful stuff.
Like Passage d'Hiver or whatever. But yeah,
Who knows? I don't think anyone
lovely,
knows.
lovely. I was reading something, an interview with him, and he was talking about summoning as well. And summoning, I know you're a big
Near and
Good
dear.
old summoning.
fan there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Should do a
All right.
summoning episode anyway.
We could, yeah. It's Mina's Morgul, right? The name of the love it.
The first
All
one,
right,
yeah.
cool. Yep. I love that one. I love that album.
Yeah.
Cool. So now I think I'll go back to my normal form now to, I think the person probably you guys know me more as, which is a death metal guy. So now we're gonna play some PA death metal in that's Marisa 2. That was everybody's like,
Yes.
banging their heads.
How can you fade out on that riff, man?
It was already 2 minutes long.
There would be another great riff after that.
There would be, yeah, there would.
Yeah, it was like that was like 70% of the song already. This is a song called the Fragmented Suspension by the beautiful album Infinite Psychic Deaths by Outer Heaven. One of the most enjoyable concerts, I would say, for a death metal band in the sports. Their concerts are fucking awesome. Really very high energy. It's just so cool. I mean, do I need to say anything? Really? I mean, let's talk about the things that people might not know, because this is fucking awesome death metal, period, right? Did you guys know there's a crazy backstory behind their work, and that like one album connects to the other? Like, if you listen to the last song of one album, we connect to the first song of the other.
Yeah. If
Yeah,
you look
there's
at
a whole like
the album
world.
covers too, they're connected.
Yes, there is a whole like world building behind the music. It's actually pretty extensive. I do not remember these specifics. I'm sorry, but I've read about it. It's pretty interesting stuff. But man, I love Outer Heaven. It was kind of just love at first sight. It's the kind of like that. Um, they're able to create some sort of like mysterious setting to death metal that I really enjoy. First thing that comes to mind is that it's the same feeling that I had when I listened to Tumult for the first time.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the same sort of like vibe, I would say. It's not something that's easy to make. Similar to what I was talking about with lore, I feel like death metal is so saturated. There's so many bands, and doing something that kind of distinguishes you and your act from the others is quite hard. I think Other Evan, they were able to do it. So anyway, I love it. So what did you guys think? Well, I know Derek is a fan as well, but what did
Yeah.
you think,
Yeah.
Whips? Let's start with Whips. What did you
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
Whips?
Yeah, I mean, in a lot of ways, it's kind of, you could just say, well, it's kind of like, meat and potatoes death metal, just done very, very well. Like, and I do think that there's a, the comparison with kind of Tomb Mold, obviously not more recent Tomb Mold, but earlier
Yeah.
Tomb Mold, with those kind of like very, very fast, like kind of intricate, juggy riffs that we were hearing in that clip. There's a similarity there. One thing that I did notice about this album, like there were a couple of bits where it really did catch me by surprise and did things that I really didn't expect. Like there was one song where there was like a completely new vocal approach. It sounded just like JR from Pig Destroyer, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
It's
Like, is that
actually
JR?
it's him. It's him.
Oh, wow.
He actually sings in the album. It's him. It's
All
the
right,
John.
okay. Well, there you go. That's like I was kind of like, is
Good
that again?
catch.
And then there was that other track that had that kind of like female vocal kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
section in it that was just like really.
Yep.
I don't know why. I really wasn't expecting that from Outer Heaven. Like I thought, I come here for riffs and growls and like it's and I'm getting all this other stuff as well. And it was just kind of like I'm sure I listened to this album when it came out, but I didn't kind of like quite separate it from the crowd in a way. But when I was listening to it this time, I was like, oh no, there's, it's very good. It would be very good if all they did was just kind of like play riffs. But they don't. They do some other stuff as well, and I love to hear about that. The kind of like the interesting conceptual themes that even extend into the artwork. That I mean that's fucking cool. So it's definitely kind of made me want to kind of go back and kind of like listen to like all of their stuff and kind of re-examine the band a little bit, because like I've seen them live and kind of bang my head and listen to the records and stuff, but yeah, a lot of the time with modern kind of death metal, especially kind of like the dirty death OSDM kind of like death metal, I kind of like put it on and switch my brain off and just kind of go riffs. But like I think there's maybe a little bit more than just some excellent riffs with this band.
You caught JR from Big Destroyer, but did you catch Steve Tucker?
No, I did not
Yeah,
catch
he also
Steve
makes
Tucker.
there's like I don't remember the track, but he also does like guest vocals in here. And there's like another person, I just don't remember who it is, but there's
Yeah,
a bunch of
the guest list is crazy. There's also the Alex Jones from Undeath is on here.
yeah. Yeah.
The guitarist from Rivers of Nile. That
I mean,
lead.
everybody loves them.
Yeah.
Correctly. That's correct, because everybody should love them. Outer Heaven I think it came together for me really because the first impression that I had from them was live. I saw them live the first time, and they just make an awesome show, right?
Yeah.
I think before Derek goes, I think there's one time when Derek and we went to a filler venue like Kung Fu Necktie to see Coffins from Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, and then Outer Heaven was opening for them. They played an amazing show, and we were very grateful because Coffins, something happened with their flights or whatever, and they got there like by 1 a.m. Both Derek and I had to work on the next day, and we just decided to go back without seeing Coffins. But at least we saw Outer Heaven, and it was fucking awesome. Sorry, you can go, Derek.
Yeah. No, that was a tough night, unfortunately. But great show. Yeah, they put on a great show. They always put on a great show. I think I've seen these guys conservatively probably like 20 times.
Damn.
Because there was
Oh,
a
wow.
there was a time right after their debut came out where they toured every week. They were playing a show because they like don't tour because like they all have like day jobs and stuff. But like I was living in Brooklyn at the time, and they were playing Vitus every day. It felt like every time I was at a show, Outer Heaven was opening. But yeah, no, this album's good. I would say I think I have a little bit more attachment to the first one, which is why maybe I think that one's a little bit better. I also think the first one flows a little bit better. I think this one might have better songs because I think the second song on this, Pillars of Dust, which has J.R. Hayes on it, it's that song, might be my favorite thing they've ever done. I love that song. There's great riffs, great, yeah. I
It's
just love
playing in
it.
my head right now. It's a remarkable song.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that song. But yeah, this is a band best experienced live. They just so much energy. And what's his face? I can't remember his name, the singer, but he'll like jump into the crowd at times and get into the pit. It's awesome. It's so cool. Yeah, these guys rule. They also are connected to Reading. The singer and I believe the guitarist were in Rivers of Nile way back when I was seeing them in high school. And then, they just kind of went their separate ways. And Rivers of Nile became who they are. But also it was interesting to hear you guys pick out the Two Mold thing, because do you know who plays bass on this album?
No,
It's Derek Vela from Two Mold.
but there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least we're not wrong. Sometimes
Yeah.
in meta, when
Yeah.
you create your
Oh.
references in your head, you're just like, people look at you and say, what the hell are you saying? So
It did sound like a Derek riff on the guitar.
He did. He wrote a couple. He wrote a couple
two-thirds of the way
songs.
through that clip that we just heard, but just yeah. Anyway,
Two Mold, which is also a band that's very dear to my heart.
yeah,
Mhm.
love to
Yeah.
more.
Okay, so we came a long way, but we're gonna close on a high note here with our last clip
Oh, yeah.
today, right? So let's get to it. That's Derek's pick. Let's do it. Yay! Shout out Max.
Shout out Max, indeed. Yes, that was Zauberei, and that was the song. He doesn't make it easy on me. This song is called, oh god, I can't find it now. There we go. It's called Neuralgia in Eternal Sleep. I might have mispronounced that first one, but it's fine. And that's off the album The Hexerei Suite, and it's an independent release. These are some Mechanicsburg, Harrisburg, Hershey. Yeah, that whole general area in central Pennsylvania. That's where they're from. And they just play some awesome black metal. They think they have a little bit of like like Zauberei means owl in Pennsylvania Dutch, I think is what Max told me. And I guess, disclaimer, Max is a good friend of mine and good dude overall. So I try not to have, what I'm saying here tainted by that too much, but he's a good dude. So you should listen to this band because they're great and support good people. But yeah, he's a great front man too. If you see these guys live, they actually opened for that Groza and Panzerfaust show that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, they're kind of a different force. This is also, I don't know if you can tell, recorded live. So that's why it sounds a little unpolished, maybe. But yeah, no, they're great. Yeah, I'm hoping for big things for these guys. So, what do you guys think?
Well,
I like the the scream. I love that shit.
Yeah. This is a happy place for me, obviously. Like, I probably gravitated, kind of more to this than, any of the other picks, but it's just because I'm, tunnel vision black metal guy. But I thought it was just really, really nicely done. Obviously, as you say, live recording, but like played really well. And so, you can tell like really tight band. What I would love is for them to not change that sound up too much. If we do get a studio release, like, is there a studio release? This is the only one that I can
This is
find.
it. Yeah.
This is it. Yeah. Okay. So if they were to do a studio album or even a studio recording of these songs, I would really not want them to like produce it up. Just
I
like
know what you
has a
mean.
really, really lovely kind of organic, natural feel to it. I think it's interesting, like, that was a real, that clip was really kind of like up tempo and fun, and you just like banging your head and rocking out. But the last track on
Yes.
the performance like really kind of goes off into a more of a kind of like almost kind of like jam like sequence, I guess, that's like really just really nicely done. And kind of like showcases a little bit of a different flavor to the band, that they can do more kind of like shoegazy kind of stuff when they put their minds to it. So it's like I just um think that they're super talented. Obviously this is like 3 years old now, so I'd just love to hear more from them, and but more like this, right? And hopefully we'll get it at some point. It's
They have
awesome.
been playing some new songs live, so who knows?
Yeah, I'm really glad. Well, you brought up two things I was gonna say as well. With that, the last song of the album, I think it's the one that I like the most as well, due to this variation where it changes from just being like the black metal they played on the first three songs, but then it goes into this more jazzy kind of mystical like kind of thing, which is pretty cool. And I also think that similarly to what I said with Zorn, I think the fact that it kind of is as it is what gives it a charm. It makes it special in a way,
Definitely.
which is really what just put a smile on my face as we just play the demo. And I think that just because we know Max, I don't think it just means anything. It just really, if we're objectively looking at the music here, at least that's how I feel about it. Just good people doing good music, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah. No, I loved it. More, please.
Yes, please, Max. No, and also I also wanted to highlight the drumming too, because that caught me as I was listening to this again this past week. It's like, damn, that drummer's good. Yeah, and his kid is small. He's one of those guys, just like has like a snare and like 2 bass drums. He's like, all right, let's go. You know? Yeah, these guys are
Mm.
super talented, super great dudes. Yeah, hope the best for them. I think they're gonna go places. But yeah, I guess that concludes I think that's all we got so far, right?
Yeah, that's what we got for today. Any final remarks, guys, about our PA episode?
Pennsylvania rules.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I'm here because I got to meet you too. There you go. I said it.
There it is.
Okay.
It's beautiful. Oh,
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks. Go ahead.
Whips is like, ugh.
I'm very fond of beautiful Pennsylvania, and not getting to experience it very much at the moment, but soon, hopefully, get out and get outside once more.
Awesome.
See the foliage.
Yeah, see the
Mm.
foliage. It's
It is
fall
pretty
right
right
now.
now.
What I'm targeting. You're gonna be sad, but what I'm targeting is Decibel, which is in April. So like,
Is it happening? We don't
six
know.
months from now. The Decibel Denver is happening, but I haven't been wondering when they were going to release a lineup for Philly.
It
Probably
usually happens
be
towards it's towards the end of the year. Because I always buy tickets. It's around like November, December, I believe.
probably be a terrible lineup, but whatever. I would
has
like
been.
to go. I would like to go regardless.
We'll be there and we'll be drunk and then we'll just be happy.
Have
Yeah.
that beautiful meat I think about all the time. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
All right, everyone. So thanks so much for listening again. If you could just give us a thumbs up and just like our posts on Instagram or whatever, that would be great. Just to help us, poor souls, doing this whenever we can.
mhm.
I don't know, but we really enjoy it and just share some good tunes with each other, and hopefully you're liking it as well.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, and
us-
we'll
I was gonna say help us
Okay.
sign Zorn and Zauberei.
yeah, that's true. But all right, thank you so much, and we'll catch you next time, everyone. Thank you. See
Hey,
ya.
guys.
Bye.